Ah. Okay, so what does it say about the frenzied, irrational fanaticism of Sony cronies that it took them literally surrendering to North Korea for a few of them, not all, but a few, to even begin entertaining the notion that perhaps Sony are in fact the gaping, feces-caked asshole foundry I've been publicly proclaiming they were since 2009? Worse still, what does it say about the aforementioned fanboys when so many of them still refuse to bring themselves to acknowledge it? I mean, when capitulating to a communist dictatorship that starves its citizens and routinely threatens to nuke the planet doesn't get a company on your personal shit list, where in the fuck do you even draw the line at that point? Is the line even existent? Because I'm halfway convinced for some of you motherfuckers, at Kaz Hirai's personal request, you would happily gargle with used hypodermic needles. What in the fuck does this company have to do, folks? Barge in your front door and gank your fucking TV? Jungle your sister and parents? And perhaps more importantly, what did Sony ever do in their lives to warrant this delirious level of consumer zeal? I mean, a year ago, Microsoft fucked up 1/19 billionth as badly as this, and you hypocritical cunts were ready to burn their fucking headquarters to the ground. Yet 2 weeks into this scandal, even after we've already read CEO emails saying they'll never cast Denzel Washington or any black man as a lead in an international film for racial reasons, we've now received irrefutable proof that Sony outright threatened journalists who reported these leaks as stories. The same angry mob who torched Bill Gates in effigy when they found out the Xbox One almost had DRM are like, hey, chill out, guys. I'm sure they can still pull this one out. So much for the outrage about journalism ethics. How fucking buried was the story about Sony threatening journalists for exposing their corruption? And that was before they canceled the movie to appease a dictator because he threatened to reveal corruption in Sony's executive board. And some of you troglodytes are still on board with Sony. Igor wasn't this unflaggingly allegiant to Dr. Frankenstein. The PS2 was a long-ass while ago, folks, and as I've illustrated more than sufficiently, it was demonstrably overrated to begin with. PS3 had more issues than Action Comics, so what I don't understand is for people who, despite all the events of the last 15 years, let alone the last 2 weeks, somehow still remain firmly aboard the USS Sony. What exactly is the fucking thought process here? Like, sure, Sony knowingly emboldened a despotic regime that's threatened to nuke us all back to the Triassic period on a bi-monthly basis, but like, what about all these upscaled last-gen ports I'm playing on my PS4? That's gotta count for something, right, bro? How do you clench your own ass cheeks without decapitating yourselves? How do you even begin constructing a viable rationale for supporting this dog shit company in 2014? While simultaneously taking pot shots at companies that have never made a blunder even remotely approaching the immediate airspace of this? Actually, that's a rhetorical question, folks, because I think we're all fairly well acquainted with the Sony Defense Force playbook. What they'll do is rationalize it the same way they justified purchasing a PS4 from the same company that helped to kill Michael Jackson. Well, you see, Sony Music isn't the same company as Sony proper. Right! It's not like Sony's CEO Kaz Hirai has direct links to Sony Music or anything. Liar! Nobody believes me. Liar! Well, it's not like Kazuo Hirai has ever devoted an entire shareholder address or mentioned Michael Jackson and his company's duplicitous posthumous album practices relating to him. No! Baby, you're a liar! Well, hey, I'm sure any money I give to PlayStation has nothing at all to do with him, because Kaz Hirai couldn't possibly have originally made his name in Sony's PlayStation division or anything. But the email! Surely Kaz Hirai had nothing at all to do with any of the Sony Pictures drama, or the film The Interview itself, and the subsequent cover-up. Liar! I will challenge you! And you're full of shit. Stop picking and choosing, fan fucks. Sony is one company. Support one branch, and you support them all, you compartmentalizing cunt. Stop cowering behind the same thought process that allowed the BTK killer to be a church deacon by day and a sex-crazed serial murderer by night. But not to worry, of course, because now Sony has employed the leaning tower of tact Al Sharpton as a scandal consultant. I live in a world where Sharpton's working damage control. What's the matter? The Wrecking Ball had the night off? Calling in Sharpton for shitstorm management is like asking Sylvia Plath to talk down a jumper. I'm sure that'll end well. After all, he really calmed the waters down in Ferguson, Missouri. Didn't tell you hackers stole your info? No biggie. Indirectly murdered Michael Jackson? All's forgiven. Cancel the shitty Seth Rogen film? Light the boycott signal. Better late than never, Internet. I'm Razor Fist. God fucking speed!